Good day, this is PhD 201 Biostatistics. Study Section 2 Frequency Distribution Range and Application of Biostatistics to Healthcare Delivery. When you have studied this section, you should be able to explain what you understand by frequency distribution. You should be able to describe the deconstruction procedures of frequency distribution table, and lastly, you should be able to itemize the uses and application of biostatistics. In statistics, a frequency distribution is an arrangement of the values that one or more variables take in a sample. Each entry in the table contains the frequency or count of the occurrences of values within a particular group or interval, and in this way, the table summarizes the distribution of values in the sample. It is a way of showing unorganized data, for example, to show results of an election, income of people for a certain region, sales of a product within a certain period, student loan amounts of graduates, and so on. Some of the graphs that can be used with frequency distributions are histograms, line charts, bar charts, and pie charts. Frequency distributions are used for both qualitative and quantitative data. There are two types of frequency distribution, and these are: number one, categorical frequency distribution and grouped frequency distribution. Categorical frequency distribution is used for data that can be used in specific categories, such as normal or ordinal level data. Grouped frequency distribution is used with quantitative data. Groups include more than one unit of measurement. Reasons for constructing a frequency distribution. There are several reasons of constructing a frequency distribution, and the reasons include: number one, to organize data in a meaningful and intelligible way, to enable the reader to determine the nature or shape of the distribution, to facilitate computational procedures for measures or average spread, and to enable us to draw charts and graphs from the presentation of data, and lastly, to enable the reader to make comparisons among different data sets. What are the steps to follow in constructing a frequency distribution table? The steps to follow are: number one, divide the results into intervals and then count the number of results in each interval. Number two, make a table with separate columns for the interval number. Label these columns tally and frequency. Number three, read the list of data from left to right and place a tally mark in an appropriate row, and add up the number of tally marks in each row and record them in a final column entitled frequency. Let's move on as we talk about frequency histogram. A frequency histogram is a graphical way to summarize a frequency distribution. It is a bar graph with the following characteristics. Number one, the horizontal scale is quantitative and measures the data values. Number two, the vertical scale measures the frequencies of the classes. And number three, consecutive bar must touch. As a result, the class boundaries are the numbers that separate classes without forming graphs. They will be the lower limits of classes as calculated for a frequency distribution. What about bar chart? A bar chart is a type of graph in which each column plotted either vertically or horizontally represents a categorical variable or a discrete ungrouped numeric variable. It is used to compare the frequency or count for a category or characteristic with another category, and its feature includes: number one, in a bar chart, the bar height, if vertical, or length, if horizontal, shows the frequency for each category or characteristic. Number two, the distribution of the data set is not important because the columns each represent an individual category or characteristic rather than intervals for a continuous measurement. Therefore, gaps are included between each bar, and each bar can be arranged in any order without affecting the data. What about the pie chart? Pie charts are a visual way of displaying how the total data are distributed between different categories. Similar uses of a pie chart will be to show the percentage of the total vote received by each party in an election. Pie charts should only be used for displaying nominal data, that is, data that are classed into different categories. They are generally best for showing information grouped into small number of categories and a graphical way of displaying data that might otherwise be presented as a simple table. The study guide pie chart gives more details about designing pie chart and using them to compare data. What are the uses of biostatistics? Biostatistics is commonly used in large-scale efforts, such as drug testing and environmental model building. Biostatistics is heavily relied upon to track and interpret data and to make recommendations based on those interpretations. Another vital use of biostatistics is in evaluating the spread of a disease. Biostatistics can be used in solving certain environmental and biological mysteries. It can also be used in modeling and hypothesizing. It can be used in medicine. It has a lot of importance in medicine, and so on and so forth. I hope you have learned one or two things in this study section, in this video presentation, and I hope you will continue to learn more as you move on in the subsequent study sections. Thanks for listening.